Hello there, workers of the world. I'm Karl Marx. Today, I'm going to take 10 minutes to review the front page of Hacker News for opportunities to make money. I'm looking for signals of demand, tips, tricks, tactics, free code we could build upon, and if we're lucky, we might just find a $100 bill on the sidewalk. So let's go to the list. Action. Okay, number one, reverse engineering Ticketmaster's rotating barcodes. This could be a company. Reverse engineering is usually very narrowly applicable unless we are working in reverse engineering. Yes, is not applicable. So I'm going to classify this as like brain candy. This is something that's intellectually gratifying, but doesn't actually make us any money. Two, no more bootloader. This is someone else other than like LLM, or sorry, like the kernel blog. This is someone who knows. This is probably also in the same category of brain candy. Like, interesting to read about the details. No money in kernel development. It's like a drive-by thing. Right, kind of stubborn essay, Paul Graham. So there's no, this is an essay by the founder of Hacker News. There's no date, so this could be a new article. A lot of comments as usual. We will probably check it out, but we won't read the article that Paul Graham wrote because usually everyone's going to want to weigh in their own interpretation, and so that means they will summarize it. They will make any points that were unclear. They will spend a lot of time and energy to make it clearer, to have a pithy one-liner or the type of thought leader tweet-sized information that we would be extracting from Paul's original article anyway, and they will do all this work for us. So it's worth to go harvest everyone else's work that they put in, but it's not worth us to go do the same type of thing. If we wanted to do that, this is like one of those like self-prompting things, and this is by self-prompting I mean there's certain concepts you want to like run through your brain, like your brain's executing programs, and so you can choose what kind of programs you run through it, and so you can just build a bag, a catalog of programs that you can run through when you have idle cycles. Like when you're stuck on a problem, you're not making any progress. You could say, hey, let me just run a bunch of these other programs through my head, and maybe that will, clear an obstruction or give me some alternative perspective, or something will happen because whatever you're stuck, the program you're stuck executing on is not making a return. Speaking of which, we're not making a return talking about this, so let's go on to 4, C++ for high frequency tradings. If you are not a rising senior in college, and what I mean by is in you're going in and in 3 months you're going to be looking for a job, not useful to you. Unless you're looking for a job in high frequency trading and C++, it's a lot of work for similar pay to like other jobs, product focused jobs. So probably not worth it. This is probably brain candy. And unless, of course, you are looking to get into trading, you're going for that first year position, and this would give you a leg up or let you to have some example project code that would let you, move up one tier of trading firms. So if you were, had the skills to go to like a mid-tier prop trading firm, this might let you bump up to like go to Jump or Citadel. And if you're like a Jump, maybe you can bump up to Jane Street if you have, trained yourself using these type of details. Number 5, simulating particles in JavaScript. This is a computationally intensive thing. Looks like a personal blog. This is also in the category of like brain candy. However, I'm going to check this out because JavaScript and performance engineering is a personal topic of mine, and maybe you'll learn some tips and tricks. 6, failed experiments in a successful PhD. This is, I don't really have a category for this. I think this is useful. I'm going to check this out and I'll read the comments too. It's a Science.org article, so that means that whatever thinking has gone into this article probably has gone through many revisions. It's probably quite concise or considered pithy, and this might fall into the category of self-prompting. Would be useful for us, or it might have some tactics for working on a hard project. Like saying a successful PhD. 6, 7. Moving on is detecting birds. I think this is useful because of surveillance. that I have no interest in migrating birds, but the idea of audio surveillance in a rugged or a large area, maybe there's some mesh networking involved. This might give us like a hardware blueprint towards making an inexpensive prototype for like a different use case. So we could say like, oh, we need microphones for doing something else, and this could help us. This article would be the way we would accomplish that. Let's see, did I spawn the... Yes, an IEEE review article. Number 8 is a blueprint for open source firm. We're going to check that out, even though like in general, open source is a dead end financially. The idea is attractive to many like engineers. And so it's always good to check in and see if maybe someone's cracked it, just in case. Managing yourself, hard business review. Yeah, skip it. Probably high level. This is Boeing. So let's see. This is, how would I classify this? This is interesting. This is interesting. This is also described, so this is like a go-to-market. Excuse me. This is just a no. This is a news article, so we're going to skip this. Do skis get blunt? Number 11. Probably not profitable for us. The only thing I could possibly, the connection I could make would be like, it's July. Have you purchased a ski pass yet? Like, this is the season to purchase them. They're going to be selling out. And there's a subculture of engineers who will go up to like Lake Tahoe for the winter. They'll spend, a month or more hanging out in the ski lodge, skiing for 3 hours a day early in the morning, and then, shifting their working hours a bit later. So if you want to engage in that subculture, or if you want to, make connections with people, then that's a good opportunity, but you need a ski pass for this to be economical. Otherwise, lift tickets are like $200 a day, and you can pay like $700 to get the ticket now. But now is the time to purchase. 12, so recording camera angles, PC Mag, that's a mainstream news outlet, so this is news. Probably not going to be useful to us. This sounds difficult as well, so if someone else has implemented this, it's unlikely, like, it's not GitHub, for example, it's not open source. Unlikely we can build upon it. Mini monitor for a Pi. I think this is interesting. This may be useful. I know that people have made money using the Raspberry Pi before, like MT Lynch made $500,000 in cash from a product that wrapped the Pi or used the Pi to deliver some convenience for people. So maybe you have a use case that needs a monitor, needs a visualization, and then this would be a hardware blueprint for yourself. So I'm going to say this is interesting. I really wish I could like change the color of these tags to make them stand out. 14 is open source Webflow. I'm curious what this is. Webflow is based off of, or is cloned by Grape.js. There's an open source framework that lets you build the same UI as Webflow. I don't know which came first. And I wonder if this is someone using Grape.js, or if this is like an Uber for X style description where they are allowing people to edit your own app. Like if I have a SaaS app and I let my customers like edit the dashboard to be more useful to them, maybe to avoid support requests, like that's interesting. That's my personal interest. So I'm going to tag this as interesting. 15 remote applications for X11 and Windows Server. Sounds like Screen, but maybe for like like your web browser, or like you're running Excel. This might be useful. This kind of has the flavor of very complicated technology. This is GitHub. They've got enough work into it that they have an organization that matches the name. So it's probably a large community. Maybe they've gotten it to the point where it's monetizable, but the engineers are still, doing engineer things. They're solving problems, and we could take their open source code, monetize it, do the marketing and selling work, and profit off of their labor as well. So that's why this might be an opportunity, depending on the point in development of the project. So that's kind of our litmus test we'll use. Number 16, make any computer a web-based file server. Not interesting. That sounds like a demo. Entering text in the terminal is complicated. Jevons, this is Julia Evans' blog. So what this means is she will She's known for compiling lots of information, lots of tips and tricks together. This is kind of her value add in a lot of cases. Or let me be more clear about that. That's how I think of her value add. You may have a different interpretation. I've only read a subset of her work, so I could be biased, because I don't have a full picture of the distribution. Qualifications aside, this is definitely going to be interesting, in my opinion. So we're going to check this out. Let's see. Wow, we've already gotten quite a queue here. So maybe fingers crossed, right? Like fingers crossed we'll get something good, and that $100 bill is on the way. Like on the way. Let's expect it. Let's not expect it. Let's be realistic here. Open source incident management. The single largest bill at many startups that I have seen the books for is for PagerDuty. Like they will be spending, like say, $300K, and $90K of that will be going to PagerDuty. So you'll have 50 something tools. You'll have sales tools that are charging less than PagerDuty is charging. So if there's an open source version, it is enterprise sales, but like maybe there's an opportunity. This is probably a startup. We'll have to see. Sometime there are some playbooks you can use with open source startups to profit off of them, such as like localization, bring it to like a Spanish speaking market or bring it to the Chinese market, and then when they grow a couple months later, like you just keep your fork up to date, and then they buy the book of business off you, and you just get paid for like the sales job, and you can get quite a return because there's some nonlinear dynamics there where they're trying to show growth, or being able to show sharp growth right before funding is around is more valuable, so they'll overpay relative to the amount of work you put in. Just a thought. Unit general purpose programming system, interesting. So they have a full domain, visual programming. People make money off diagrams, and this sounds like a new language. So maybe this is a new diagramming language that you can implement in custom GPTs and make money there. So this is interesting. I feel like at this point, I need to be more critical because I have a string of interesting in a row. Well, bias, let's be a little bit harsher this time. Let's cut the guillotine. And tiny robots, micro robots, we don't do robotics. No. Text UI for managing Wi-Fi and Linux. No money on that. And as archive faces millions in damages. Torrenting, this is a news site, so probably no. Maven Gradle, number 23, no. This out of our wheelhouse completely. Replicating D3 charts with Swift charts. So visualizations, let me say this, take some time to develop. I think there might be something interesting here. We'll check it out. Continuum hypothesis, fundamental axiom. This sounds mathematical. Hampkins don't recognize the domain. I got to be more critical. So no. Anything with the word axiom seems very, very far from a profit center. Like 25 years of warehouse scale computing. This is good. Like this type of review article, usually news or like self-indulgent backwards navel gazing, but there are trends, there are cycles in business, and 25 years of warehouse scale computing should be long enough. And right now, warehouse computing is very big because it's very clear that we're on the next cycle of saying like building for AI applications. Like I think usually warehouse scale computing is where you have like a specific use case where it makes sense to customize a computer at a warehouse scale, like for a specific use case, like Google building it for search indexing is how I heard about the term. And so obviously people are building AI data centers. Those probably have a different internal structure, a different hardware mix. And so maybe this review article can give us some insights about what's coming. So maybe we can invest in parts or understand more about what drives purchasing decisions or construction of the hardware. Like maybe there's some pattern that we can see in the past that's profitable in the future. Counterintuitive world of compiler behavior in 27. ACM, unlikely to be useful at all. Let me go back to 26. We probably also could make a visualization or graphic for this. and post that to Twitter as a marketing thought leader, marketing, or say like, "Oh, I'm smart," or just providing value to people, which is succinctly communicating this entire article, which they haven't read, but you could convey the insight, the pattern you discovered in a graph. I'm going to say no to the here. Let's see, Z editor. I know that's a new Rust-based text editor. It sounds like there's discussion on Reddit. Probably not useful to our purposes to make money. I don't know how they plan to make money, but now it's not the time to find out since we've got so much stuff queued up. Euler's letters. This is ancient history. Not useful at all. We're not going to make any money off this. Wall inflation, Golang. Tricky. I want to say it's interesting because this is kind of the common denominator on, I would say, more skilled or promoted engineers is they tend to build a system from kind of the foundational building blocks to meet the needs of the business. Like you'll hear about them saying like, "Oh, I made something to solve a business problem, and to do so, I had to go like one level lower than you usually expect someone to do. Like everyone else would reach for a library or try to find a pre-existing open source project, and they're like, no, I went one level lower from first principles, or kind of like not first principles, but like just one level more, customize it, and that worked out really well. Was promoted, or like this is justification for why I get paid a lot. So this might be interesting in terms of like career development, and also this could be someone who is moving up, connection, opportunity. And it's in Golang, which is better than JavaScript for my personal preference. So, okay, now that we've triaged this, I didn't need these categories. I had a hypothesis that I would put them there. Turns out the tag thing is quicker. Let's go through the opportunities. Now that I think about it, I really probably should rank these because, like, what are we at? We're at 17 minutes in triaging them. Wildly blown through our estimate, taking twice as long. Let's see how to get this under an hour. Okay, stubborn. This is the Paul Graham essay. I don't know why this showed up here. This was not in order. Right. It was where we were because we're only going to look at what other people's take on. The reason why I talk about other people's take on Paul Graham is that like you don't want to read his thoughts. You don't need his thoughts because you're never going to interact with him. So there's no point in understanding how he thinks or how he views the world. Like you don't need to keep a pulse on that. But other people do. Thousands of other people read him. And whenever you have a new idea released all at once, a lot of people, some of them are going to be using this as the lens upon which they view the world for the next couple of months. So I like to, whenever there's a new idea or like new prism, a new lens, a new viewpoint released, I like to see how other people are taking it and how they might integrate it into their own thinking because I'm going to have to deal with other people viewing me through this lens. So knowing what they're going to see gives me a head start. So I'm just going to look at the top comments, and this is the part where we're going to slow down. Like this, if I read all these, interesting. So this is a personal innocent. Oh, I recognize the commenter. This guy has gotten frustrated with the work quality trade-off, and so he's going into background. So this is kind of interesting. Let me just copy the link. Opportunities, more about more detail, and this is qualified under a connection. If we wanted to work with him, we could know more about what we're getting, and then people are going to comment about that. I'm going to read the next one. I'm looking for a quick, succinct description of what was going on in the article, and then people thanking them for putting it very well. Let's see. Properties. This has just jumped out at me. The way I think about the world is probabilistic. Like there's distributions going on, and there's a lot of conditional probabilities and hidden variables. So having a binary classification is incorrect, but frustratingly helpful. Like Like there's signal, there's alpha in the binary classification, but it's not technically correct. And so I will spend too much time looking for the accurate description of reality when people are just making money hand over fist using the incorrect, right? Like it's good enough. It's a linear approximation. I mean, how do you solve differential equations, right? You linearize them and you invert the matrix. You don't actually, first form solve them. So this is a neat comment. So we're going to take this. I need like a better block quoting system. And this is going to be fortune cookie fodder for us. Moving on. So we'll try to extract a tweet out of this, especially if this polygram essay becomes trending or something. We can provide a counterpoint. That's the value we can provide. Let's see, people missing the point. Bulverism. I don't know what that is. So this is one of those buzzwords you might see, like when a new lens comes into consciousness or new idea comes into the level of consciousness, you're going to start seeing this word, the shibboleth. Good to know. And I will link back to the original source so you can read more, trying to understand what the hell it is. All right, we're getting pretty far into the weeds here. On the scroll position page, we're only like a tiny fraction of the way in. I don't feel like we're going to make money on this. This might be worth revisiting if you were bored. Like, put this in the brain can. Let's put this in the brain can, like brain candy. Move on. Now we're on to performance. So this is a blog from an individual. Maybe this is a picture of the developer in question. Interesting. So what can we take away from this? So right now, this blog does not have the TLDR, like the result, like why you should keep reading this up front. So there's an improvement you can make, like an editorial improvement you can make. So there is a connection opportunity. Like their blog post could you can use progressive form up there. They could summarize what they're going to say. They could have a table of contents. This article looks quite long. They could be written in abstract upfront format. Had visualizations on YouTube. This is pretty good. There's code. Maybe there could be additional syntax highlighting. This is probably the editor format they use. There's a conversational style, so perhaps they could benefit from characters like Fast and Lime or Exerves or whatever their name is. Has like a animated characters, like looks like a chat conversation. Looks like someone on this side, someone on this side, a little bubble going across, talking to illustrate the point. And their blog could be enhanced by this. Then let's see, details. There's example code. Let's see. This is talking about internal JavaScript details. Or sorry, let me clarify. This is using APIs that I haven't seen before. So this is going to be educational. They're demonstrating progress step by step. I know what post message is, and I vaguely know workers, so they're sending messages back and forth. They are doing double buffering, which is a technique I know about. Then, they're doing some work. They have examples. The examples could be linked better. Let's see. Do they have any tracking code on this? Like they could be adding analytics. Sorry, you can't see this. I'm looking to see what analytics they're using. I probably should. Everyone should probably have a tool that gives you this information what it's built with. I don't see any tracking or analytics on this website, so perhaps they should add that and optimize, or at least have a call to action until next time. So they could add a footer like read other articles. Uh, let's see if they have any other articles. They've put a lot of work into this. Okay, so they've yeah. So call to action could be like, hey, if you like this, try my game. Let me know what you think, or collect feedback. Like they've missed an opportunity here. Okay, the comments. The other people are suggesting the same improvements. How many comments are there? 67. Okay, they said they did many months. When someone says skip to the end to do something, like there's a problem. You have identified, oh, there's a problem, and you, my reader, are going to have to solve it. But instead of solving it for them, you're just putting some text. I'm so guilty of this. This is a pattern I'm trying to do a better job of recognizing. Like, recognize this is when you say, oh, just do XYZ to make it work. Like, oh, like npm install, but it might not work. So you do npm install, force legacy deps. Fix the problem. Fix the problem. Watch conversion rate go up. This is you've done all the work of thinking, identifying it, and this is the 80-20 scenario where you're making the wrong trade-off. Let's see. There's a bunch of useful links. So, let's see. We probably should save this in our personal knowledge base. Like so our spider goes out and crawls this. When we search for things, it will augment with a signal that like, oh, like these words or the embedding, build our own embeddings database, like a personal knowledge search to say, we have encountered this before, or these. I don't know how to say this. That's not really quite accurate. What's accurate to say is that other people have voted these resources as being excellent, so we should, if we were behaving most optimally, we would have some way of taking advantage of that fact. Let's see. We got to move on though. Hmm. I'm going to skim through this. Skim through this. Chrome tracing. So today I learned exists. Then, yeah, so like one of the things we're going to do is collect. Today I learned code pen. Okay, moving on. This is the failed experiments into PhD. We're looking for tactics. Let's see, what did they do? They're doing their PhD in Germany, so that's a European culture. That's important because European PhD culture is different than American PhD culture. They're doing cell-like vesicles. I wonder if they're in biology or if this is, it's probably biology. Okay, this article is like really, really short. They say they had difficulty. So here's the learning is that they had an unexpectedly strong reaction to not working out. Other researchers are very interested in like why the experiment didn't work. So they're saying why the original protocol didn't work might be helpful understanding because like they were able to get the protocol to work, but understanding why it failed rather than it's like, oh yeah, you know these magic steps. And it's like, well, how did you arrive at that? How could I have expected to figure that out? Yeah, that's useful. We're not going to make any money off this. We got to move on. Let's see. Is there anything PhD simulator? Sounds like a game. Let's see. First thing I see is there's no ads on this website. So we have a candidate for, we could take this game and then host it on our website and show ads and then hope other people will be confused and visit our version of the PhD simulator. Or we could fix, like, it looks like the aspect ratio is wrong. Let's see, decline the offer. Neat. Neat. Neat, neat, neat. Oh, it's even on GitHub, so we could totally, um, you know, 9 months ago, so it's probably gonna work. Neat. Yeah, this is a niche thing. We're not doing a PhD. We're trying to make money. Is there anything else we could learn? Um, if you were hiring people, you want to hire PhD workers, maybe you need to know more about their experience. Yeah, probably not gonna make us any money. Let's move on. This was our hardware, cheap hardware system. This is pretty cool looking. Some type of mass. Is that a car battery? A 5 gallon bucket? Okay, neat. This is very promising because this diagram is very clear, unambiguous, shows us how to do it. They see they have a parts list. Reproduce. Ah, okay. They sell. This is the kit that someone else sells, and then he's able to sell. He's able to build this thing for $9. Long term, audio monitoring, with car battery, which I think is like $100. Microphone, $9. What other hardware does he use? A $34 sound card. 2 gallon paint bucket. 2 gallon bucket. Free software. And if we were using audio software, or sorry, audio surveillance or something, we were not using the software. This shows how to use it. Neat. Then BirdNet, there's a tool for identifying birds. That's interesting. Yeah, so no really way to make money off that bust. So we're a bust right now. Let's see. This is the open source business maintaining. So Googler. Okay, so that means he probably has a substantial professional network. A year later, so an unusual success, and then his success is compounding. He's starting a firm, so he's achieved product market fit. So Signal, because getting lots of money, enough money to sustain yourself, and then start adding on additional contractors is extremely rare. So this is in open source. Like, this doesn't just happen. It's not like the default. So let's see. There's open source projects. Interesting. I've heard of some of these projects. And then he has some customers, like Teleport, for example. I've heard of them. Tailscale, I've heard of them. Neat. And he has a newsletter. So his setup is pretty optimized. So we could use, Tactic, or I don't know if it's him, their blog, and take the structure. Like, there's a floating. I'm in the way. Let's see. Yeah, this doesn't help. Let me just move the page for you. There's a little floating subscribe button. So I'm assuming that has been proven to increase conversion rate. So we should revisit this, like in a week, and to mine the UI for ideas. That's useful. I have no way of maintaining open source software. There are this is interesting. So he says advisor is a better word than consultant. That is a quote. That is I guess good for go to market. Like, what I interpret is that he's learned that using the word advisor gets him much dramatically higher conversion rate. And what next? He says he's going to replicate it in small firms with a portfolio. Like that matches my personal view of like, oh, software is going to be small firms with a concentrated portfolio, similar to like prop trading, and then people are going to profit from their individual expertise, like by spreading out. It's like, oh, we're writing login components, then everyone in the industry will be able to take advantage of that, and then we get paid, and the value we get for our work is large because we're able to deduplicate so much effort. Like so many people will be able to benefit from this. Fixed monthly retainer. Okay, so this is exactly like the 24-hour design guy. And meanwhile, by the way, the 24-hour design guy started out doing everything himself, like this gentleman or this person. Then, and I say 24-hour design guy because I know he's a guy. He's a friend of a friend. Then, I was going to say, I'm way over-indexed on the correct pronouns because it's distracting at this point. Whoops. But you live and you learn, You live and you learn, and we'll see if we can make it out alive. How about that? Anyway, what I was trying to say is the 24-hour design business owner also had a fixed monthly contract, and now the 24-hour design business owner is a millionaire. Like this system worked out. So this is another vote. So like now we have 2 votes in our for fixed fee monthly B2B for professional services. Like if I was thinking about performance engineering, I'd say like, oh, maybe I could offer performance engineering as a fixed monthly fee to say, hey, there's performance issues, you have a performance regression. I'll jump into action, or me and my team of performance engineers will jump into action, fix the regression, bring you back up, but we're on retainer for when this comes up. And then, or you say like, troubleshooting. It's like, well, you have all these weird issues, like you need to update a library version, or you try to use a new library, open source library, and you can't make it. Just can't make the proof of concept work. You build setup because you're not an expert. Like you're having to pay the tax, the noob tax, and so you could have an organization, a firm that says like, oh, we're the noob tax payers. Like anytime you have a weird problem, like it didn't exactly like you followed the instructions of the README, didn't work, you call us. We suffer through the hours of toil to like find the undocumented option or find the undocumented API. We fix it up. We make it work. We give it back to you. Your engineers can take over because no one really cares. There's no business value in like figuring that out. Like you say, like, oh, you want to keep expertise in house. Yeah, expertise how to use the library, how to work with your data. But like figuring out some weird build issue or environment incompatibility or like version mismatching, that's not a competitive advantage. You want to do that as cheaply as possible. And all organizations want to do that. So maybe you could have a troubleshooting org. This isn't anything a new idea. This idea kicking around my head, but this is like another vote that says, like, hey, maybe this is work. Maybe there's enough money in this to, for a motivated individual to, pay their salary without having an explicit job. Another call to action. So they're quite good. They have footnotes, follow-up call to action at the very end, wherever you go. Excellent, excellent. Any words? Hacker News comments? I don't know what the CRA is. Critical deponents. Okay, so apparently there's another tide lift business that's selling. Yeah, people are missing the forest, the trees here. This guy's saying it worked, and he's raking in enough money to expand, and you're criticizing it. You know, successful business. The only downside of this, right, I speculate. Moving on to the monitor for the Raspberry Pi. This is fully functional, great presentation. There's a demonstration of how it works. Source code, so open source. So I would describe this as like you can have a 2-inch screen and run Raspberry Pi. Neat. Is there, so now I'm only looking for cost, display as a monitor. Interesting. The video output, X11. It's a lot of work, it seems like. Screen mirroring, set of instructions. Okay, so the usual checklist item of add a call to action. If we wanted to make a connection with the author, we could suggest improving. And like other posts that he's written, or subscribe to the progress, or contribute. Like how many articles does he have? He has articles every couple of months with 4 years of history. He has an RSS feed, so he could add this link. So let's see, is there a way to reach him? Does he have a mail? Yeah, he has an email address. So we could do a simple improvement and maybe meet someone else. Was that a typo I saw? Oh no. Okay, Jekyll posted the source code. Oh, we can even make an improvement directly and just make a PR. So we could add the analytics. We could add the call to action, and we could add, um, like a TLDR. He's already got campground TLDR, but we could add like a table of contents here, for example. You can't see my mouse. I'm waving it around like the hardware section. Okay, moving on. Probably not a profit there. Just a quick look at the comments. I see commercial 3D printing, connectors, DuPont connectors. Fascinating. I don't know what that is. Someone else did this. I guess this is useful to note is when I'm doing a new project, do not reinvent the wheel. So if we could analyze how we could find this resource, like this is a tactic, tactic, you know, you know, try to like pretend we're going to do this. We want to make sure we turn on prior art rather than reinventing the wheel. This could be a good example test case for this. Moving on to the X11, we're only halfway through. Wow, I gotta get better at filtering these. Screen for X, 30,000 commits. So one note I have for my own analysis is, let's see, tools. I don't have a tools. I want to see the distribution of code. This will help give me an estimate of, or some estimate of how much work is in this, because right now there's probably a lot of work. Let's see, they've got a demo. The README looks pretty good. They have installation, stable downloads. So this is probably a quite developed project. Is there, they've got a lot of issues. Let's see, when is the most recently closed issue? 18 hours, 20 hours, 20 hours. So this is an actively developed project. Money. Where's your time, effort? Yeah, I'm looking to see if anyone's. If people are donating. Interesting. Hmm. This is like RDP for Linux, and there's a lot of expertise. So there's probably like X. It sounded like they were talking about taking the Windows driver, so this could be a good source of like talent. If you had a very specific need, maybe able to hire someone to do the work from here, or this is a good place to search. Other than that, I have no idea how to turn this into cache. Um, it's probably too complicated and large to like build by yourself. It would take you weeks to wrap it or to turn it into a commercially sellable product. And there are a bunch of like remote desktop instances, like VNC or TeamViewer. There's a lot of companies. Ah, okay. Xworks. Interesting. Oh, so this is interesting. A tidbit. So this fortune cookie fodder is this type of inside gossip. I was like, I like to see as brain candy. Obviously, you can't make any money off this. Um, copy link. There's a code change that would make Wayland better, but they won't merge it. So there's a story there. We don't know what it is, but if we had to use something with Wayland, maybe we would use it. All right, so probably not going to make any money off here. Moving on. This is a review article about what you do. It's probably talk about readline. Let's see. Yep, readline library. That we're describing. So usually, as we get down the bottom of the article, there's tricks and tips, and there's things you didn't know how to do. So, for example, there's readline shortcuts. I only use the home and in keys, so know that those like Control E and Control A are useful. Like this is something I should do to improve my workflow. So tools like I should be using. And probably the way that I haven't been like motivated to do this is because, as the article alludes to, not all the libraries use readline. So your reward, it's not like it works on every single program. It only works on some. So that you have like the intermittent reward. Key bindings come from Emacs. Interesting. Wonder if you could have Vim key bindings for it. Who knows? Like, I doubt it. I very much doubt it. Custom, readline inspirations. Let's see. This is a very long article for Julia, in my experience. So maybe this is a fruitful topic. Like because the article is so long, you could write your own deep dive into one of these areas to produce content. Like if you're making content, like if you're making a video, like you're a developer entertainer, you might be able to make a video about readline, and you would know that it's like, oh, 200 people. This is one of the most commented things. People had the most interest in this, and there's going to be more uh, tips and tricks. People are always going to chime in, but also they also know in the comments here. So I see a bunch of extra things to do. I'm going to scroll down, pick a random point left out. They're saying like, oh, this is only POSIX. Yes, this is a deep and complicated topic. Very interesting. Unit software, 503. Interesting. Oh, this looks awesome, dude. This is awesome. This looks very futuristic. Is this useful? Like so this has way more examples than almost any self-run project. Maybe there's money behind this. Because why would they put so much work? Okay, this has previously been linked. Deep design. Interesting. I saw them talking about text representation. We're going to devolve into editing. 2022. So this is old. My unit is like at least. Also means it didn't take off. People tried it, play with it. It's not everywhere, so not successful. It also explains why. It's probably like a labor of love or development of someone's personal preferences, some personal interest. What's the Yeah, it's discussed late 2023. Hilarious. And this is the GitHub repository, GitHub repo. I mean, it looks sophisticated. Are these clickable examples? I just don't think we're going to make any money off this. So we got to move on. Prograph. Oh, it's project is lost. So we can't make it interesting. Solution source of problem. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Writing technical documentation. This is a good tactic. So um, this is a good tweet. You could turn it into a tweet. Um, moving on. We're almost done. Swift D3 charts. This is pretty neat. So D3 charts, backbone of almost every SaaS product, I imagine. And this is doing them in iOS. This is probably something many people would like to do. Like they're forced to use React Native, for example. This kind of example seemed like a tweet. Like people like to see examples on how to do something. So if you package this up as tweets, I don't see any other way you can make money off this. Like make an example instead of having all of them. I would forward that to a Swift developer friend. Examples look very close. D3 charts did still look better. Like those were the ones on the right. Um, box plots, violin plots. I do agree box violin parts are a secret weapon. They should be replacing most kinds of graphs. Like you want to see the distribution. Don't just show me the median and the percentiles. Show me the violin plot. 25 years of warehouse computing. We running out of time. This was like a tweet category only. So let's see. This is someone quoting from the article, so we don't have to read it. It's also the PDF. So that's rough to go through quickly. Well, let's crack it open and see if we do see a heuristic. All right, it's 13 pages, so it's not long, but this is like a regular, size article. There's probably some details. First 5 years. Are there any charts and graphs in this figure? There are no charts and graphs. So easy. We can do a Wikipedia. Wikipedia timeline style, like the days, and tweet it with a link to the paper, and we've added value. Let's see, is there any other value in the comments? Let's see, it's a lot of work. So interconnect, this person's talking about interconnect. I do believe this is correct. My understanding, at least, is that InfiniBand is like 10% of the cost of an AI warehouse scale computer. So if you can delete that, you're saving tens of millions of dollars. or in the case of these billion-dollar size clusters, you save $100 million by using like Ethernet, fast Ethernet, and that's gonna drive cost down. So like there's two ways to make money, right? You can either increase revenue, or you can decrease costs. And this is like working on decreasing costs. So maybe if you invested your time in driver development and implementing this, then you could get a very good job working for a data center builder. Someone's going to build a data center like next year who's not used to building large data centers. They're going to want to hire professionals to make it work because they're in a race and they need it to work now. They have a bunch of money, and building the skill to do Ethernet. But that's not in the article. This is something that I'm already thinking about. People complaining about computer size and things getting slower. Usual people weighing in saying like, "Oh, you can get a massive computer." This is not really true. Like, let me say this: not really true is not the right word. It's true that you can buy a large computer. The false is that you're not going to. Like when you're running a business, you're going to buy cloud computing. Like you're not going to rack your own servers. It's just too slow, and you're going to get outcompeted by someone else by building up all the basic primitives. You're only going to do this like later once you have a business model fit. So the fact that these servers exist is irrelevant to you. You should be thinking about like, oh, my software needs to run on a MacBook. Like startups with $100 million in revenue, their compute costs are usually a couple hundred MacBooks, or they might say like, oh, we can run our entire software stock on like 10 MacBooks worth of compute. That's the kind of scale you should be thinking about. This is for web apps, like we're orchestrating APIs and doing some bookkeeping in a GUI or automating a process, not like a heavy compute thing. That's a different type of business. You're not going to be doing that. That's more deep tech. The marketing focused people are doing this with a Vercel account and making $30K a month. That's what we're talking about. They're using less than a MacBook worth of compute. All right, this is the last article, last project. Wall. They've done this. This is very simplistic. The README could be improved. I'm going to check out the author. I always like to check out the author. Reba. That's the clicking the wrong button. Amazing. What's their activity? Not very active. They've been programming for a while, it seems. They're messing around, interesting distributed, learning Golang, looking to collaborate. So they are actively looking to make something happen. This is the best case, like inbound, you could do. And like the way we can make money off this is twofold. Like you can collaborate on a project, or it looks like he's in India. So maybe there's some like labor arbitrage. You have a project for him, then you could hire him out as a contractor since he's looking to work on something. Like if you had an open source project and you wanted some feature work done, you could pay him. He gets it done, and he gets the story as well. He gets the cash. Or maybe he's working on projects, he's developing projects, and so you could sell him a course, or you could sell him tools that helps. Like if he's working on a product himself, you could say like, hey, what you're hosting on Vercel, you should monitor it. Here's monitoring software, that sort of thing. I've heard that directly DMing people building that could, like building in public on Twitter, like there is a market of people who are building in public. They're trying to be entrepreneurship, and they are customers for entrepreneurship improvements. Like if you have a tool that improves conversion rates, or you have a tool that eliminates Stripe refunds, for example, make Stripe refunds easier. You sell them, it's like, hey, $20, use my Stripe refund tool, and they're like, perfect. I've been having this problem. So you can identify, and without kind of paying for ads, or like these people are already advertising to the world they need these type of products. Let's see. Let's go back to the details of what this is. Speculation aside. People are discussing the code feedback. That's exactly what they want. This is excellent. There's details here. There is There's bugs. He sat down and just tried it, which is totally fine. The great approach is to just make it like too many people try to make something perfect, where he has released something he's embarrassed about or should be embarrassed about, and now is getting feedback. He is kind of learning. Like the easiest way to get an answer to the problem is to confidently be wrong on the internet and let people tell you how and why you're wrong. This seems like a detailed description. This is a great quote. I need a better quote syntax. This is kind of like inside baseball. It seems like uh, these are the key areas you need to focus on, and it looks like this author is going to implement them. So if you're interested in this, or you're looking to like I said earlier, you're looking to practice with the primitives, like saying like, oh, I want to write a log for a data structure, or like a worker, um, and then I'll restart and reload, and um, like I'm doing transaction processing or something, or I'm doing some type of work optimistically, and then I want to like recover, and so I'm going to add the write ahead log to my system. Um, you can collaborate with this guy. He's full of energy, and it'd be like a fun experience to implement, to like do the learning project and really push yourself, to find all the areas, all the corners, I should say, of the problem space, explore them, and it won't be like tedious and time suck. It sounds like a blog post needs to be written about this work. Sounds like so you could improve the README, write a blog post for the project, and like practice the marketing aspect there. But there's no way to make money from this directly. This is just kind of skills and honing your craftsmanship. Okay, so in conclusion, we looked at a bunch of things that seemed interesting. Did not find any way to make money. At best, maybe there's a connection or two, people we could meet for the first time and who are doing interesting stuff, and we could collect new ideas or be exposed to new like new areas, but no really no real way to make money at all. Better luck next time. Take care of yourself. Glorious revolution.